Okay, it is 9:39 a.m. and let's see what this one can do. We finally have a regular morning panic bounce play that out of all the day trading setups I feel most experienced trading, and I think I could have done better with this one. If I could have done anything different here with NWBO, I probably would have sold half of my shares instead of everything, and I would still be holding the other half right now. And the goal would be to see what it can do around this VWAP level. There's a big seller at 185. And if I want to, I can sell if it breaks the trend line, or I can try to be patient and let it do like a higher low off of this panic bottom and then sell the other half, ideally if it does that higher low and it starts to uptrend and it can get even higher. So yeah, let's see what this thing can do ultimately. I did trade it twice. First I was in at 934 at 183 and a half. I had a trend line right here. It's kind of hard to see, but right here at 934 it looks like it was starting to break the trend line and try to reverse, and again the goal will be VWAP and to see if it can do something above it. And I was in again at 183.5, so like right around right here was when I was in. And after I was in the setup, I didn't like the way it was trading that much. The price action just didn't seem that good. It just seemed like it was going to potentially downtrend. So I did sell the same minute at 185. I think I should have been trading 150 shares because that's default what a $15 risk level would be in most cases. And again, I sold here at the same minute at 185. It did get to 187, and then it did break this 180 level. And this is nice because, you know, it made the bottom at 180, so 180 is like the level they keep in mind. So when it breaks it here, and then it looks like it's starting to catch itself in the 170s, it makes it seem like it breaks 180. All the weak-handed people or all the dip buyers from here who didn't get out earlier, they're going to be selling, and then it's going to hold itself because there's a lot of people holding it. It looks like it did do it actually, so I'd probably be out of the trade by now, but yeah, it did the thing here where it broke under it, but it held it so well and it was starting to look like it was trying to regain momentum. So I was in at 178 and a half at 937, which was right here, right around here. I'm gonna guess right here at the bottom of this wick. And it was working, and I played it a little too safe because the next minute at 938, the idea that I had was that if it was going to, I don't, doesn't make sense anymore, but let me see if reloading the chart makes it look, yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, yeah, because that wick was not there. At 938, I did get out of the trade because I thought, you know, according to the way this trend line is looking, if it gets to 180, it's going to potentially be breaking it. So when it had like a little wick right to that trend line level, that's when I placed my sell order and I was out at 181. In theory, I could have just sold half and it really didn't break the trend line that seriously. It just kind of had a wick there and it came back. So I guess that was me maybe selling a little too early there. Best case, I could have sold half at that point and then the other half around here when it looks like it was just about to cross the trend line, which was right here at 186 or 184. And at this point, this thing can do like maybe a higher low if it keeps downtrending off of this level and then try to break VWAP. So I'll be watching for that. I was also looking at FERM, but I didn't like how it was looking clean at first, but then it just had a bottom here, then it just shot all the way itself back, and with a wide spread, that's not something nice. That's really about it. I'm going to be focused on NWBO. This could even be a morning panic bounce play, but I don't really want to trade a listed stock. They're not exactly perfect. It's still under it, but it looks like it might try to base off of this 44.23-ish level if it can break past the trend line, and then maybe it can try to reverse, but it's a listed stock. If they don't really trade the same, I might trade it, but I'll probably focus on NWBO unless it looks a bit unpredictable. Okay, it is 9:49. I just want to update in regards to the pattern. It did get to VWAP and it did break it eventually, so Yeah, it would have been fine if I were to have sold half right here when it broke it for the first time, or again, maybe if I allowed it to make a higher low. This is what ended up being. Right here at this 182-ish level, the higher low off of the panic bottom, and then that eventually made a move past VWAP. It's been a long time since I had a morning panic bounce play, like a proper one to trade. And this thing can offer a lot more on the way down, ideally, or it can even try to uptrend some more. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I had a lot of room for more profits, and hopefully next time I can be able to do that. Maybe again, sell in two pieces instead of the entire position. That could help a lot. And I am looking at DWAC. It is trying to do something where maybe it breaks under 44 and then it catches itself immediately and then it uptrends. But the problem is that this one is trading accordingly to the overall market, so it's not necessarily as clean as an OTC that doesn't care about the overall markets. This thing has an influence on DWAC, the overall market. So, I mean, I still might consider it just because it looks so enticing, but I know it's not as ideal as a OTC morning panic bounce play. Okay, it is 10:06 and I had a trade with LWLG, but I got out of it, and even though it's uptrending more and it's trying to work out, I felt like I was just playing with fire, and I got out of it because this thing was a morning panic bounce play and it seemed a bit nicer than DWAC. This one is a lower priced stock. It used to be an OTC, so I kind of felt like maybe it still had a bit of that OTC vibe, and I got in it because it looks like the morning panic bounce play was in, and I bought only 7 shares because this is a listed stock. I have a smaller $5 risk level. At 9.59, I was in 7 shares at 10.71 right here, and I got in because it looked like, actually not 10.71, 10.67. It looked like it was trying to do it right here. It looked like it was trying to break out and make an uptrend and get to the VWAP level, which is actually making a run towards. But the problem was is that this one was also influenced by the overall market, so that made it extremely sketchy. Let me see if I can do this properly. Yeah, this is the other screen. So essentially what I was doing was watching what the overall market was doing, trading at these lows right here, not very far from this low right here too. And I was seeing if it was looking like it was trying to uptrend and turn around ultimately. This ended up being like an inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder in a way. And you can see it's having a straight run towards VWAP, which is also why it's also potentially having that straight run towards VWAP here with LWLG. So when I realized that, this thing was definitely trading off of the overall markets, I felt like I was just playing with fire. It was no longer day trading like a proper setup, even though it looks like one. This was just almost gambling. Is it going to break the day low? The S&P 500 is going to continue to downtrend. So I decided to not trade it anymore, and I got out of it. I made a small profit. I got out at 10:01, which was right here at 10:70 is when I got out. A slight profit. It did get to VWAP, and this would have been the goal, but I'm glad I got out of it because this thing was trading based off of the overall markets. It wasn't like an OTC that likes to just trade on its own. So I have another trade there. I'm probably not going to trade anything else unless something looks super obvious, but for right now, I don't see anything that I want to trade. Alright, it is 9:42 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I am up on the day, which is exactly $4.21. And that's actually kind of interesting because this whole week really has been frustrating trying to learn setups that are not morning panic bounce plays with really widespread stocks like SYXX. And then this final day right here where I actually got to trade some setups that I actually feel like I do pretty well, and I have a lot of experience, still a lot of things I can do better. It just made up the whole week, and I didn't even trade as well as I could have today. I had that trade with NWBO, and in theory, I could have been a lot more profitable on the actual trade where it actually turned around. I could have, again, did the things that I mentioned before. I don't want to repeat myself and, just be super boring, but that was the case with that. And as for LWLG, it did again turn around, but that was just playing with fire because I was literally just guessing what the overall markets are going to do. And I've kind of learned that, at least at an intraday chart with SPY, it's kind of hard to predict because it's not very technical. It can be very fundamental at times and break patterns. So that was the case with that. The only thing I regret is that, sure, I could have traded NWBO a bit better, but that's fine. I haven't really trade a proper morning panic bounce point in a while, but I do regret GESI. I did see it when it was around this 245 level, but I would have liked it if I were to have seen this earlier to understand the price action better. And then if it would have been the case where maybe I didn't make any money or I lost money trying to trade the morning panic bounce play, I think that would have been fine. But the fact that I wasn't really watching this and checking for a potential big drop, this ultimately did end up being the big, dump day. This is a bit like a very classic 2008 style, pump and dump looking chart. Very, very cool. And then you can see the last day here is when it started to get a bit exponential. Pretty impressive. I wish I was a part of this, even if I were to have lost money and been unprofitable today. This was a super nice move. It went from the 230s as high as $4, so that's almost a double. And I really wish I was a part of it. And I was watching this, but I didn't even realize that we were already getting to that 4 p.m. time period, so it didn't really offer much of a setup here. But yeah, besides that, I think I did all right. I just wish I was a part of this, and if I was, I think I could have been super profitable, especially the inverse head and shoulders, the shoulder, the head here, and then the shoulder. Maybe this would have thrown me off, but from my experience trading SYXX the other day, this could have been something where I could have been a part of it, and I would have gotten out if it were to have broken the bottom of the shoulder, which I never did right here, and I would have been in a pretty comfortable spot. So that's all I have. I hopefully can be more aggressive and take setups like this in the future to be looking out for them. Otherwise, it was a pretty good learning day, and I'm glad I was able to finish the week green, even if it was just a little, but only because of the fact that I got to trade some setups that I feel best with. And even those setups I didn't trade that well or as well as I could have, and ideally, God willing, I can try better and be much more profitable. That's all I have for today.